today's lightning talk and hopefully discussion to follow is pair testing. I work in a very collaborative environment. If you guys are not familiar with Atomic Objects, big open floor plan, no assigned seating. Everybody shifts around as our service as a software as a service changes. So we pair a lot. It's one of the foundations of our company. So I watch developers pair all the time, and I had the opportunity on accident to pair with the tester on my primary project. We were doing it over IM, and what happened was, she came to me and said, I have this bug, and I'm having trouble retesting it, and I know you have a little bit more background. Can you help me? And I said, absolutely. So we dove into it, and we went off and we would find, as you're testing, I don't know how many people here do exploratory testing, but we would start down the path of the functionality, and we would come up with branches and things we needed to try and ways of exercising this functionality, and we could hand those off one at a time. So somebody was walking the path and discovering while somebody else was exploring a path. And we could trade that back and forth and back and forth. And as we were doing that over IM, we had instant documentation, so it was all in our log file. We had more path coverage in a shorter amount of time, so we could get back to developers faster. We got two perspectives, so we saw more paths emerge. And it really got me excited because we were more productive and more engaged in the testing session. So all in all, the benefits were enormous for us in this particular instance. Then I tried to do it later with another employee at AO, and we struggled and we lost productivity. There's a lot of overhead in talking and sharing. And so we had these two contradicting experiences. So I realized it didn't work in every situation. So what I'm curious about is if anybody else here has done exploratory testing in pairs, other values people can find or have found in it, and some other ways in which it can be done. There's a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot, there's a little bit of documentation out there on people who explored it, documented it, researched it, that sort of thing. But all in all, my experience going forward has been that in particular cases and particular features it works out really well, but overall, if you're trying to do a whole session in pairing, it can be really challenging. So that's my spiel on pair testing, and I guess you don't have to say.
When you had the testing work, were you and your partner, were you more like each other? And when it didn't work, were you more dislike each other, or vice versa?
I would definitely say it was very different personalities in both cases. What I had in common with them, I'm not sure that one had greater overlap than the other, but they were definitely different.
Were there different strengths in the testing? Specification based and other customers?
So one was a developer and one was a tester.
Which one was okay? That's important. That's important. Which one did it work well with? Which one did it not work well with?
It worked well with the tester, although I would have expected it to work better with the developer.
Me too.
And the reason for that is the tester in this particular case was not very technically inclined and had trouble identifying good paths to take and good test cases. So it wasn't in my opinion, on this particular feature, wasn't a very strong tester. The developer, on the other hand, was very philosophical about scope and ideas and would have chosen better paths, but they got kind of wrapped up in their learning mode, I guess. But
have you ever tried testing the developer before to compare? The times that I've worked with developers as testers, it's always harder than working with another tester as a tester.
Developers build things, testers break things. They all work in the same medium.
we won't break anything. We just discover broken pieces.
Right.
Was there a difference in the timeline or time frame or pressure between one and the other?
Well, one happened organically, hey, can you come in and help me? Whereas the other one was planned and set aside.
That's what I was going to say, is she brought you in, right? Here's someone with expertise that can help me, please, let's work together. Versus maybe even someone else decided that the two
No,
of you?
in the developer case, they pulled me in saying, we really need your expertise.
Okay.
We don't know what we're doing. Can you help us test? And so they
Was it his code?
What's that?
Was it the other guy's code?
Yes.
Was his code?
Was it his idea to bring you in?
Yes.
So hey, I'm finishing up this whatever iteration on Friday. Why don't we work together on Thursday and see if we can bang anything out? It sounds really good, and if you get there and it doesn't work out so much.
Right, so it was, part of the idea was we had a lot of coverage to do and very little time to do it in. So the hope was that we would get more coverage in less time if we had two of us. Which kind of sounds like, oh my god, my project's in utter chaos, let's switch to Agile, right? Because then there's all the overhead we're switching, right? So, oh my god, we've got too much to do, let's throw more people at it, and maybe we can get more done. And there was too much time in bringing me on board and bringing him up to speed on technique, and I think
Right, was he a
that's
trained exploratory tester? Had he been exposed a lot to this? I do think that...
Well, I think in Atomic Object, we are focused on testing all the time. We need to test, blah, blah. But as I'm being the first QA person there, yes, they've had to do exploratory testing in the past, but they're not formally trained in it or haven't done a lot of research in it. But they get the ideas.
So you're getting good at Brooks's Law there.
I submit to you that a trained exploratory tester is one role where if you're really good, and as long as the domain isn't something like nuclear fission interreaction, right? A trained exploratory tester can jump in and add value to a project in a very short period of time without causing a great deal of ramp. Now, if you've got to build test environments and things, maybe he needs to be trained as that. You just point me at a GUI and say, Matt, attack this thing, right? I submit that I can add a lot of value very quickly. The question is, in that particular case, is it, I'm going to attack this thing while collaborating with someone I don't really know very well to teach them how to attack this thing. Did that, in fact, slow you down?
Like
I wouldn't be surprised if it did a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good possibility. I really think it has more to do with knowing what had to be tangled and divvying that up and approach, because we had a lot of time spent on how do we attack it.
Yeah.
But a good exploratory tester is somebody that knows what the common mistakes the developer makes, and the developer is the one making the mistakes.
But on the other hand, I'm going to test on the project tomorrow morning, and I'm going to do pair testing with the developer in a matter of speed. I'm going to be next to him. I'm going to be doing my group. Well, he's driven on writing some other code, but he wants to be involved every time I find something.
Right. I think that'd be really good if you, because when we've done a lot of collaborative
That's a
work
good learning experience.
at social text, very similar to what you're talking about. There's one new feature, but we can break it up into 5 pieces. You do that piece, I'll do this piece, you do that piece, I'll do this piece. You're going back and forth, and then stop when you find a bug. Then you can have the opportunity to say, he'll say, how'd you find that? You know.
Right.
And you'll learn a little bit about his thinking to go, oh, so if you made that mistake, you probably made a similar one over here.
Right, that's true.
Right?
That's a really valuable idea, and I hadn't really
But
thought
their
about that.
motivations are different. They're working in the. My brother ran across a mercenary from South Africa when he was in Florida Institute of Technology. He was actually in the engineering program to figure out how to blow bridges up. My brother was there how to build them. It was just a different mentality. Yeah, the same class, but this guy's like, how?
You didn't take any CS classes?
I don't think he did, but
There's a really famous professor there, Tim Kainer, one of the best teachers in the world.
Kainer, yeah, he's got the. Have you seen the black box testing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our kind of mandatory thing we make all our PCs go.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
It's a good
it's really good. He also mentions Jordan's.
What's that? I'm going to Arizona every summer.
Oh,
I'm sure this
so we'll have him back in the fall.
What do we want to do in the fall? Speaking of which, do we want to meet at lunch? Do we want to meet in the evenings? Evenings are going to be tough for me.
I prefer evenings because